Today we're going to make a tray bake. This is a recipe for roasting vegetables that I came across 4 or 5 years ago and I dearly love. We're all finding that the natural flavor of vegetables comes out when you roast them. And so I'm going to show you the variety of vegetables that I like, but you can put any veggies in that you like and try it, because it'll all come together with a vinaigrette sauce, let's call it, not a dressing, a vinaigrette that you're going to pour over it for it to bake. It will have oil and lemon juice in it, and it will be delicious. We were surprised the first time I followed the recipe, and I haven't since because I've got the basic idea, and it really can vary. The original tray bake recipe that I found on Pinterest, and I don't remember who wrote it, suggested that you put chunks of raw chicken in with all the marinated vegetables. So that turned out perfect, but I've not had good luck with chicken ever since. As I said, I have a lot of freeze-dried vegetables, which we'll talk about in a minute. But so far, I've wanted to put a few vegetables in that were fresh. So Joanne and Bonnie are slicing and putting in my tray. I have a big, thick commercial tray. And I will talk about doing preparing the freeze-dried foods. I put this here to remind myself to put it in. This is freeze-dried feta cheese, and we will rehydrate some to put in the last 15 minutes of the baking time. Also, I have potatoes out here merely to illustrate that it's fine to put thinly sliced potatoes in, but usually I'm trying not to eat carbohydrates, so I usually leave those out. But it's delicious if you add sweet or regular potatoes. I've tried it with both. So I have an empty jar here, and what I'm going to do with my marinated vegetables is the freeze-dried vegetables need to be rehydrated. So to do that, I like to say this is my rehydrating jar, and I'll put some mushrooms, just how many I feel like. This is all according to what I love mushrooms, according to what your taste is. I like to have bell peppers. So I've put the freeze-dried red peppers in. Next, I'm going to open carefully string beans. These are also freeze-dried. Just put a few in for color. Okay, that's about full enough. And when your jar is full enough with, let's put some green peppers in too. All right. Are we still? Mm-hmm. So just for color, I'll add some green bell peppers too. So here are 4 different freeze-dried veggies. The reason I'm stopping in the procession of what to put in is it's time to start rehydrating these. So I'm just going to guess, because I can drain this afterwards. But putting a lid on and shaking this is all we need, and these are going to be ready to go. Even the string beans will be ready to go. But we've got several others that I want to put together. So we will use this jar that already has sugar snap peas in it, or snow peas, I guess it is. We like to store our freeze-dried foods in jars because we're old enough that we know we don't need to have it last 30 years. So we're storing them in vacuum sealed in jars instead. So I love asparagus, so I'm going to put a good number of, maybe the whole jar of asparagus. And these are examples. Just do the veggies that you love.
If you do too much vegetable, saves fine for another day.
Yeah, well, yes. As long as your vegetables aren't fresh. That's another advantage of using freeze-dried, is that you can come and go as you please and add as much or as little as you want. Whoops, oh, that's already open. This is the one I'm opening. It would help to open the jar that has the lid on. There we go. I should have pre-opened these. I forgot. Okay, so I'm pushing these in a little bit. I like Brussels sprouts, but I love them. In fact, I could use a whole bag of Brussels sprouts each time I make tray bake, but they're kind of expensive this time of year. This isn't really the season for them. Okay, so I've got my second jar rehydrating of vegetables. It's really easy to use the jar for your rehydrating. Just goes so much faster. And they don't have to be fully rehydrated because there will be juice in the tray. But here are my two veggies that are, you can tell the difference. This is stuffed full, and look, as they rehydrate, they sink down in the jar. I'm going to add the rest of these asparagus, so I'm just putting a little puddle in. If I were really being meticulous, I would save the rehydrating juice that's left over, but today I'm just going to dump it in my drain. Okay. So we'll let the vegetables that are hydrating sit for a couple more minutes, and I'll talk about, this is pre-chopped celery that I'm not using as quickly as I thought I would. It's good to have, it's good for me to plan chicken salad with the elements all ready to combine when I want chicken salad. Just for flavor, I'm going to add this chopped celery. And then it's a good idea to put tomatoes in every batch. Tomatoes, onions, and bell peppers are the three vegetables I would recommend that you include every time. They really add a lot of flavor. Now, I'm actually not talking about any one vegetable because they combine to be something heavenly. There's something about the blending of each of the, not blending them, but the combination of each of those juices together is delicious. I'm going to add a good number of tomatoes, at least that many. If I were cooking this by myself, I might empty a whole tray in because they're so good. And so Bonnie and Joanne have prepared onions and zucchini. I've now added celery and tomatoes. So that's 4 vegetables right there. And I have 4 more vegetables that I'm going to combine. Again, we'll let the, it's good to shake these every once in a while.
So it's interesting to me that you don't have to measure everything. You just put some water in.
No. I just do it according to how you like, and with, as I said, onions, bell peppers, and tomatoes as a required base.
How long does it take to rehydrate the whole quart?
About 5 minutes.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to give it plenty of time. Actually, I'm going to turn this upside down because the Brussels sprouts will probably take a little bit longer. Don't pay attention to what percentage I put in. Some of it is, I just don't want to go get more Brussels sprouts soaked. So some of it's laziness. But if you have really important vegetables, include as much of that vegetable as you'd like. I have not tried cabbage. Cabbage might work, but I don't want to try it on camera. And I've not tried spinach because I'm afraid those thinly sliced vegetables would char a little too much. Now, the secret ingredient in this is your marinade. And this is a pint jar, so it has 2 cups in it. And I am going to show you how I make my marinade. Half of the jar of, well, it's 1-to-1 olive oil and lemon juice. So I'm just going to guess because it doesn't really matter. And it can be a little bit more of one or of the other. There we go. Could you throw that away? And originally I was hand juicing all of the lemons for my marinades. And then one day I was too busy to juice one, and I kept ice cube trays full of frozen lemon juice in my freezer that I didn't want to take the time to thaw it or juice. So instead I used some of this real lemon that's recommended for canning. I have it for canning. Instead, this happy day, I discovered that you really cannot tell the difference. I can't tell the difference between fresh squeezed lemon and this bottled real lemon. The real lemon is a very good tasting lemon flavor, and I did not know that. So that the only other thing other than 1-to-1 oil and vinegar, 1-to-1 oil and lemon juice, I guess you could use vinegar if you wanted to vary it. You could put a shot of balsamic vinegar in, that would all be good. But the basic recipe I started with said lemon juice, so I've included lemon juice every time. The other thing required is seasonings. I always include table salt, and I'm not sure if this is a good way to do it. This is how I've done it. I put about a teaspoon of salt in. There are a lot of vegetables we're doing today, so I'll put 2 teaspoons of salt. What doesn't work is you kind of have to scrape the salt granules out of the bottom of the. So Joanne, could I have a rubber scraper?
The bottom of the tray, or bottom of the
jar. The other thing I'm going to add, you can add any fresh, thank you, any fresh herb, but this is winter time. It's cold outside, and these are freeze-dried thyme. I think thyme for savory dishes is a universal flavor. It goes well in everything. So this is the thyme that I grew from my garden last summer and then freeze-dried. I'm going to put about a about a teaspoon of thyme. There is your marinade. This is what you're going to, I'm going to stir it over the tray. Don't move the tray. I'm going to stir it so that
over the
if it spills, I'm okay. Okay. But I'm not going to put quite the marinade in just yet because we need to drain our waiting freeze-dried vegetables. Remember, I told you that I really should be saving the liquid, but we're on camera and I don't want to fuss, so just know that you could be saving the juice from all of these rehydrations and use it as a vegetable soup addition. If you save it right in the freezer, then you would be good to go with extra nutrition. I doubt if we've leached out very many vitamins in the small amount of time I've been rehydrating.
Where would you use the liquid?
In a soup. Just put it in as part of the liquid for a soup. So these aren't 100% rehydrated, but they're good enough. If you can see some of the color. But don't worry, if it's been sitting 5 minutes, then you're good to go. Oops, you can just leave it.
Yeah.
And then it's a deep sink, but it's okay. Then we have the final task is to decide how much marinade. I made a big batch because I wanted to fill the whole jar for illustration, but I don't think I would put the whole thing in here. So the oil and the lemon juice are mixed, and I'm just going to do a healthy swig, probably about that much because we have quite a few vegetables. Joanne, could you stir?
Just stir it all up, huh?
Yes. And that is it. I used to do this on a cookie sheet tray. That was my tray. And I've switched to a deeper one that I found at a thrift store. It's a commercial steam table pan, which I really like because you don't have any spilling over.
You're stirring.
Does it seem like all of the vegetables are being covered with the marinade? You can kind of tell where the marinade is and where a plain unseasoned vegetable is by the olive oil glistens. So you're looking, let's tip it to see. So you're looking for your vegetables to just be glistening. You might not like the same ratio as I do, but don't worry about it as long as you've got half lemon juice and half oil. And I do use olive oil every time. If you have another preference for another time, go ahead and use it. But I just like the aspect of the olive oil being incorporated.
I am noticing that when I chop the zucchini, I put them in together, and I think it'd be best to separate it so you get the juice on either side.
I don't know why those are sticking together.
Well, I think that's just the way I put it in. I didn't just put it in.
Okay.
I put
Maybe
it in as a
it's
clump.
just natural.
Yeah.
So scatter the coins of zucchini, and there you have it. Now I have preheat the oven. I heated the oven. That was what the buzzer was about. The oven is heated enough. Remember, you're going to roast these vegetables, so you want a high heat. In my oven, 400 is high enough. So we've rehydrated, we've added the marinade, and now we're going to bake this. You'll have to watch it at a 400-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Start watching maybe at 25 minutes. Oh, then I should turn around. The tray has been baking for about 40 minutes, and twice during that 40 minutes we stirred it. And I've just put about a cup of feta cheese in. Some of my family does not like feta cheese, so I only put it in this half. What we're looking for, we're going to put this back in the oven for a few more minutes. We're looking for some of the vegetables to be slightly charred. You can see Brussels sprouts are going to be most likely to be the ones that char, but you can see also a little bit on the end of that snow pea. It's delicious. It's fine. And really it would be good if there was more. This could be eaten now. It's delicious the way it is, but we're going to take it out when it has a few more crispy pieces.
And the cheese will be melted.
And the cheese will be melted. Finally, our tray bake is ready. The variable time is going to depend on what size pan you put it in. You can put it in any baking dish or a cookie sheet, or in this case, this steam pan works the best for me. And that will affect how long that you roast your vegetables in the oven. We are ready for dinner, so I just thought I would show you how beautiful that looks with the colors of all the veggies, and the feta cheese is kind of melty. This does last very well in the fridge. Cool it, put it in a deli container, and eat it for lunch every day. And I'm in heaven with this meal. I could eat this every day.